We're
All right, I'm
live.
ducking out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, Miss
Mhm.
Wynn, it's me and you now.
Good evening. Good evening.
So I just want to tell you thank you first of all for agreeing to come on to this interview. It's so important that we talk about things such as childcare because that is today so much needed. But we need to have good daycares like where moms and dads can go to work and not worry about their children. So tonight you're gonna be sharing. You got 30 minutes in which you're gonna be talking and sharing with the world. You know that, right? Because you're on YouTube.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're gonna be
Yeah.
sharing with the world your experience, as
Mhm.
an entrepreneur in that area. And when people ask questions, I might interject and let you know that there are some questions in the chat section, and I'll read them off and then you can respond. But this is your story, okay? This is
Mhm.
your life, and you get to
Mhm.
tell your story, what you're passionate
Mhm.
about. And if you interject some other things, that's just fine, okay? So now you can take it
Okay.
over. It's your turn. Go
Good
ahead.
evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Jane, and the ones that's listening.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for asking me to share my experience
Mm-hmm.
with you and the listeners.
Yes.
This is my important subject of
Mm-hmm.
discussion.
Yes.
I am this is my experience. This
Okay.
is mine. It's
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know anything about daycare centers. I
Uh-huh.
don't know anything about anything else but my experience.
Okay.
So I was a registered home caregiver, and a
Okay.
registered home caregiver is in the person's home
Mm-hmm.
where I had
Six
six little
children.
children,
Okay.
and six children.
For
And
excuse me, Miss Wynn, for some reason your voice is going in and out.
okay,
So
okay,
I don't know what's causing that. So we want to
okay,
take
is
a
it?
minute and kind of
Can you
fix
see?
that so that the
Let me see.
audience who's listening can, hear you clearly. Sometimes that's why we ask people
Okay.
to wear the headgear because that
Uh-huh.
way people can hear you clearer. But I don't know if you
Okay.
have the
Okay.
earplugs for that.
I have them. I
Okay.
have them. But can I pick them up? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but we can't hardly see you
Okay.
because your head is more down to the bottom of the screen. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Let me.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. That's fine. Take your time.
Okay. So can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. I just said I want to thank Miss James for asking me to share my experience with her and the listeners. This is an important subject that I desire that I discuss, and
Yes.
I'm speaking of my experience,
Yes.
only my experience.
Okay.
And I was a business, and my business was a registered home,
Okay.
and this was I kept six children,
Mm-hmm.
and I was licensed. I had to be licensed. I
Mm-hmm.
had to be inspected, and
Okay.
I must had classes. I must have to take classes and have a follow up of rules and regulations.
Yes.
And I wanted my home to be promoted
Okay.
physically,
Mm-hmm.
socially, and
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, and
Okay.
intellectual
Okay.
development for all my children.
Yes.
Okay, I had a high quality child care
Mm-hmm.
where I provided a safe and nurturing environment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am speaking of my experience, and I was in the business for 40 years.
Okay.
And a registered home is a home facility that abides by the state
Okay.
regulations,
Mm-hmm.
is being certified to keep children in your home. So, like I said, that my home was a loving home, and I wanted all parents and all children to feel comfortable. And this environment really helps the children in school,
Mm-hmm.
in the home. I visited my children's home,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like my parents was my inspiration as well as I was their inspiration.
Okay.
And we could talk, and I always invited my children, my parents, invited my parents into my home.
Okay.
And so I did have uh, Miss James
Mm-hmm.
grandchildren and Loretta, Miracle, and Brandon, and I
Yes.
enjoyed having them.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very good students and very good children. If I have to say,
Yes.
they are very good children.
Thank you.
And I ask anyone, I want to let everyone know, when you are picking a daycare or you
Mm-hmm.
picking a child care center or a home,
Mm-hmm.
don't look at the building.
Okay.
Don't look what's in the building, but look who's caring for your children. That
Okay.
is the most important thing that you can do anytime you are looking for someone to keep your children.
Okay.
And daycare is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing for
Mm-hmm.
children to grow
Yes.
and to be nurtured,
Yes.
hands on. And my daycare was I was a caregiver, a registered home caregiver.
Okay. What's the
And
difference? What's the difference?
okay, caregiver. I wasn't a nursery, and I wasn't a daycare facility.
Oh, okay.
I was a I called myself a caregiver because there was so much difference. I had to do the same things that daycare had to do,
Okay.
but still I didn't consider myself as a nursery or center,
Oh,
you know.
okay. Okay.
So, but I always carried myself as a small home, home registered home.
Okay.
That's what I considered myself. Yeah.
Yes.
So I am far from being a daycare
Mm-hmm.
provider,
Okay.
because it's a lot more involved. It's a lot more involved. Even though, like I said, we had to be certified, we had to take classes, we had registration, registered uh, uh, monitors to come around and check on us and everything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
um, my daycare, my place was my center. I'm not saying center. My place of business
Yes.
was hands on,
Yes.
and I had my little children, and more like I say
Uh-huh.
that my home was a place that I considered a child away from home.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And so I don't want anyone to mix up registered home, group home, at risk centers, daycare. Don't mix it up because it's so much. It's so different.
Yes.
Everything is different, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
So we have to have the immunizations. We have to have regular checks. We have to have our monitors to come around. We have to have all of that. But
Okay.
we're just a small number. It's just a
Okay.
small number.
Okay.
And that's just by it. Yes, yes. So, but I just want to let everyone know that I really did enjoy the 40 years that I was in the business.
Uh-huh.
And I thank my family for allowing me to have my business in the home because it took a lot from them too.
Yes.
So I just really want to thank them for allowing me to have the daycare, have the business in my home.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to include everyone that's involved,
Uh-huh.
your children, your husband, outside, your parents, your children, the husbands, the wives, everything, everybody. You have to include everyone to
Okay.
make your business successful.
Okay.
Yes. So,
As
any
a
questions?
as an entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you are, because you ran your own business. There are
Yeah.
so many young women today, including my daughter and my spiritual daughter. A lot of them are starting up businesses, not in
Yeah.
childcare, but in something else. What advice would you give them as
Mhm.
trying to start. You did it for 40 years. So I know you
Yeah.
have a magnitude of information.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, whatever you set out to do,
Mm-hmm.
you do it with the best. You put your best foot forward. Your customers is your main priority. Just like when I was in my day in my facility,
Mm-hmm.
I put my parents, I put my children and my parents first, and
Okay.
I said, you always be able to talk
Mm-hmm.
to whatever business you're in. Be
Mm-hmm.
able to talk with your patients or your customers or whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
But be on time. Be on time. That's the
Okay.
main thing. Be on time. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you say you're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
and always give back. Give back to your community. Give back to the community.
Okay.
Yes. So
Yes.
I recommend if you're going into a business, it's best to make sure that is what you want to do because
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot of give and take. It takes a lot.
Yes.
So if you're going into a business, make sure it's what you want to do.
Okay.
And so that's my main thing. You remember to remember what if that's what you really want to do. And if that's what you want to do, you'll succeed. You will succeed.
Yes.
Yes.
And Miss Wynn, how
Mm-hmm.
do you do that and not neglect your family, husbands, wives, children, your own family? How does someone who is trying to become an entrepreneur, do their own thing, but they still have a family? What
Yeah.
advice would you give to them?
Try to include them in the business. Try to include them. Even the children. The children can come in and see what the business is consisting of. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like if you have a beauty shop,
Mm-hmm.
if you have a store, you have whatever business you have,
Mm-hmm.
include them and let them know. And make sure you take care of home first. Make sure
Okay.
you take care of home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, the younger ladies now, they are out in the community more than I was. I was embedded in
Mm-hmm.
my home and with my family. But now it takes so much
Mm-hmm.
to for families to live now. It's much
Yes.
more expensive
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And so the wife and the husband have to be out and
Yes.
about. But if you open up a business, include your family and let them know into what's going on and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and let them understand that you come first, other than God. You come first.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, what if they are deciding to go into a business? Make sure you include your family and let them know that you love them and
Mm-hmm.
that mama have to go out and do this or that and the other to make it better for us. you
Yes.
know so
Yes.
children understand more and the husbands understand more because that is something that they know you're doing to help the family.
Mm-hmm. I too believe
Mhm.
that communication is so important no matter what you do. And to me, when a person is married or in a relationship or what have you, I believe that you have to communicate, and and that's what makes the world go round. And that is what draws people to you. Because if you don't talk, I believe it hurts us more than anything. And that's what I hear you saying, in a sense, to what you just said, is to keep the communication open in the family and don't let the business take over your family. Is that am I right on the right track with that?
Yeah, yeah, yes, uh-huh,
Okay.
that's right,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay. I
Hmm.
have some, let me get to
Hmm.
some questions in the chat section. In the chat
Okay.
section, well, Moretta sent a comment and she said, I literally couldn't have found any better place for my children. Miss Wynn really loves the children and us as their parents. Truly top notch. And you know what I'm going to say through that comment right there before I go to the next question from another viewer is the fact
Hmm.
that once your business you retired, right? Miss Wynn, you
Yes.
retired
Uh-huh.
from your
Yes.
business. Do you hear a lot of those type comments when you go out into the community or wherever you go from people, children that you've raised? What kind of feedback do you get from children that you literally raised partially of their lives as children and now they've grown up? What is some of that feedback?
Yes. I do. I call and I check and make sure, just like when Miracle Brandon is doing something, I always check with Moretta, even though I don't have them here. I call and check on my children to make sure that their grades and they are doing well and everything. And so that's the way I really keep up with the children I've kept. And I can say that the guys, my oldest child that's out here now, I'm in my age and everything, the ones that I have had,
Mm-hmm.
he's 42 years old.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
42.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
so he told me, he said, Miss Wynn, that's one thing I didn't do, is you used to tell me all the time, about hygiene and
Mm-hmm.
about this and that and the other. And that followed me. And I said with Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
Brandon used to lose his backpack. He used to lose his backpack every day. And I told Miss James, I said, Miss James, I said, don't buy Brandon another backpack. And I said, Brandon, don't you bring that backpack. Don't you come here without that backpack. And so he said, yes, ma'am. And so from that day on, and Moretta took a picture of Brandon, and he thought really, she really taking a picture, but she wanted to show me that that was instilled in him,
Yes.
that not to lose your backpack. You keep up with your things.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important, because
Yes.
you're going to college, and you're not going to have mother, grandma, and all of them to remind you of things. So what you teach them when they are young, it's instilled in them, no
Yes.
matter what. And I'm
Yes.
really proud of my kids that I've had in my daycare. And they are very studious.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, they are very studious.
Yes.
And I really thank God for it.
Yes.
Yes. So the
I,
community really helps. It's really something. It is really,
the
when you know your children are doing well, it really
yes.
helps. It really
Yes.
helps.
Yes.
Mhm.
I have a question from another viewer which says, how does a person know if a home daycare is registered? How does a person know whether or not a home daycare is registered?
Okay. It should be posted. Your certification should be posted at your door.
At the door?
Everything involved, your classes that you have taken, your
Mm-hmm.
certificates, your certification, your now they had the CDA. That's meaning a certified, you know, associate.
Yeah,
So you, yeah,
development. Associate.
child development associate, whatever
Mm-hmm.
thing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's always, everything should be posted at your door.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, and the parents shouldn't have to question. They shouldn't have to question it,
Mm-hmm.
because it should be posted where the parent can see it. All
Mm-hmm.
menus, you shouldn't have to ask whether my child eat today. Everything should be posted.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
You know
And
what I hear
mhm.
you saying, Miss Wynn, and I've also witnessed it. As far as information, it's important for us to get information on any center, any place where we're putting children. Is that's what you're saying to us today, right? So
Yes,
my
yes.
my next question is because I am seeing so much today with bullying and
Mhm.
the loss of a lot of our children to violent crimes. And I'm going to tie it into what we're
Mhm.
talking about today, um, because there's a tendency for people just to automatically relate whatever kids are going through is just that was a bad kid. He was a bad kid, or she was a bad kid, and they didn't have any home training and things like that. by you being a registered daycare caregiver,
Mhm.
registered caregiver,
Mhm.
what are your views about that? Because you know a lot about children that many, myself and other viewers, may not know. Those who interject that as well as those who sometimes take their life because of bullying and drop out of
Yeah.
school and
Yeah.
things like that. What do you say
Mhm.
about that?
Well, I say that when you see them, it most of the time starts at a very early age. Big brothers, little sisters, or little sisters, and the parents may say, "Give it to her. Don't do this. Don't do it." They will grow up thinking that they can just bully someone to give them what they want. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, I had a little girl here. I had a little girl here, and she, this little boy loved her to death, just loved her to death. But they were having problems in their home.
Okay.
Sometimes children are having problems in their home, and they acted out. They
Mm-hmm.
act out in school, they act out in the community and everything. So, but when you see something like that, you have to stop it. You have to stop it when it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you stop it when they are young, it will flow on over
Mm-hmm.
when they get older. So I
Yes.
think the bullying starts most of the time is when they're young. Most of the time, it starts when they're young, and no
Mm-hmm.
one does anything about it.
Okay.
No one does anything about
So it
it.
starts
Mm-hmm.
at a minimal and then it grows.
Yeah, it grows. Yes,
Okay.
it grows.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You were saying earlier to myself and my technical director behind the scenes before we came on that you started keeping children at 12,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
share a little
Mm-hmm.
of your history with us on how you ended up from where you started, ground up, because everything starts from somewhere, to
Yeah, yeah,
what you ended up doing as an entrepreneur. Kind of share that with us.
yeah. Well, I started out in Tyler, Texas. It was a small community,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just in like a little city. And we had neighbors, and had to do this, had to do that. And my
Mm-hmm.
mother said, Linda, you can make a little change by keeping, this child, for an hour and a half or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I started keeping children. I did when I was 14, 15, whatever, I started Sunday school,
Okay.
doing in the Sunday school class, the
Okay.
little children. So it just stemmed from my early child, like 12, 15. I married when I was 22.
Okay.
So I said, when I had my first child, when I was 22 years old,
Mm-hmm.
I had my first child.
Okay.
So I learned things that I needed to know to care for my own children.
Okay.
So when I had my son, it wasn't anything new to me because I had already nurtured little other children. So
Yes.
I didn't have to worry about not knowing how to do this, not knowing how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started doing that at a
Mm-hmm.
very early age,
Okay.
through my church and through the community. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
know, another thing, Miss Wynn, what I am seeing today is, and this is just what I am seeing, and you probably have too. Um, Today it's more like people are being so competitive. You're doing the same thing somebody else is
Mm-hmm.
doing. Like you had a caregiver facility, in your home with
Mm-hmm.
children. And other people were doing that same thing. How do you deal with the issue of competition today? Because I believe that it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. What are your views
Mm-hmm.
about that as a, entrepreneur who is now, retired, with other people who was offering the same service that you offer? Um, what would you say to people, the young people today, who are starting out and they find themselves faced with something like that, with competition?
Well, I tell you, when I started in my facility,
Mm-hmm.
we did not do those things.
Okay.
The people that worked with us, that was in the same business, we would
Mm-hmm.
help each other.
Yes.
If a child came to me and I could not take that child,
Mm-hmm.
I would send her over to my other friend. But
Mm-hmm.
we did not do those things. We helped. Like my mother used to say, if you can't help, don't hurt.
Right.
So we would always try to help each
Mm-hmm.
other. Times are different now. Times are
Yes.
different.
Yes.
And so it's best, really, I say the best thing to do is to do what you
Mm-hmm.
have to do. And
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about the rest. Because if it's for you, it's going to be.
Yes.
If it's not for you, well, I gave my best shot.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's what
Yes.
I say. We never had anything like that. I've had friends to tell me now, they'll call me and ask me, she said, when you haven't, we didn't have that kind of thing. People calling in on you doing other, things that's not, that is
Hurtful. They're
to
hurtful.
do to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hurtful. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have any of that. We always helped each other, and we would always come together and discuss our problems that we are
Mm-hmm.
having,
Uh-huh.
and then we could help the other. So we always was a close knit group.
Yes.
So I don't know about the times now,
Uh-huh.
what they're doing now. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of young people that's going into entrepreneur, doing their own business. There's a lot of them doing.
Yes.
But just keep doing what you're doing. And if it's for you, it's for you. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not, just say, I've given my best shot.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
What
Mhm.
financially, uh, sometimes you run into a financial spot. How would you tell
Mhm.
someone to deal with that? Just from your point of view. So you're trying to provide a service, but maybe financially you're losing more than you gaining. What would your views be on that?
Well, in my perspective, the
Mm-hmm.
facility that I had, I always had an understanding with my
Mm-hmm.
parents and let them know
Mm-hmm.
I am here to help you. I'm here
Yes.
to help you. But
Mm-hmm.
it costs. It's a cost to
Mm-hmm.
everything. So when
Yes.
you go to a beauty shop or you go to anywhere, you have to pay.
Yes.
And so just make that understanding to your customers. I'm here to help you,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a family. I have to pay for this. I have to have expenses.
Mm-hmm.
So you must do what you have to do. If you're coming here for my services,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do everything I can to satisfy you. So
Yes.
make sure that you do things to sort of satisfy me
Yes.
financially.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
That's
So
some
you have to
very
have a good understanding. Yeah, you have to have a good understanding
yes.
from the beginning. From the
Have
beginning.
Have you
Mhm.
ever had any difficult situations where someone refused to pay or just a confrontational type? They received the service, but they didn't want to pay. Over the years, have you ever had a situation like that?
No, like I say, like you go into a store
Mm-hmm.
and they can say, well, that's not the price,
Mm-hmm.
this or that or other. It's a confrontation about or something.
Mm-hmm.
But with my daycare, they always came in and they did what they were supposed to do. And that's the way I lasted so long because I had the good people, the good family, good people.
Yes.
So if you are in I say a beauty shop,
Mm-hmm.
maybe require them to give you before services.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have to, pay before service. You are going to deliver. You have to worry about them giving you,
Right.
but you're going to deliver your part, you know. So, but the
Yeah.
problem with it is, I had, I had many times, when I had gone to a beauty shop or something like that,
Uh huh.
and someone may get out the chair and say, "Oh, can I pay you on Friday?" But they
Okay.
didn't say that. But the beautician had it on the wall.
Uh huh.
If pay I forgot what it was such a neat thing.
No
So
pay, no
everybody
service.
understood what he was saying. No
Uh-huh.
pay, no service. That's it. That's it. So I think what she said, her best customers,
Uh-huh.
she knew that they were going to do. But
Yes.
people just coming in, he had them to pay the cost,
Yes.
before service. Because many times people will get up out of her chair
Uh-huh.
and say, "Oh, can I pay you on Friday?"
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't tell me this, you
Yes.
know. So,
Yes.
sometimes you have to do things what you have to do what you have to do.
Yes. Yes. I we talked
Mm-hmm.
earlier, we was talking about family and something else that I've not feedback, but through conversations, people will say like, I'm trying to do this, but it's like my family don't even support me. And it's very hurtful. What would you say to someone who are dealing with that, struggling with that, the fact that I'm doing it, and if nobody else uh, was to support me, I look for my family to support me. What would be some of your advice to them? Because I don't want to see someone fall at their dreams because they're so focused on what maybe their siblings they grew up with or anybody in their family
Mm-hmm.
that they don't support them. I don't want them to throw their dreams away. What would you
Yeah,
say to
yeah.
them?
Well, say this, that you know what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you deal with who deal with you. And if a person is not for you,
Mm-hmm.
you hate to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the pastor prayed, cut the right arm off. And that's not meaning you cut the arm off. It's just that some people you cannot deal with. You just can't deal with them. If you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a success, you know,
Yeah.
it's always gonna be somebody that sit back and hate to see you do this and hate to see you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So but just do what you want to do and do the best, because if it's for you, it's
Uh-huh.
gonna be. If it's
Yes.
not, I say
Yes.
you have given your best shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So don't
I,
worry about uh I wouldn't worry about things like that. Don't worry
yes.
about it. Just do what
Yes.
you can. Do what you can.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that
Mm-hmm.
is such a strong statement, such strong advice because Miss Wynn, you are that foundation in entrepreneurship. You are part of that foundation. There are many people who, have done many things over the years to help build a foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
that is why it's so important to have people like yourself that have done things for years and so that other people can see this is nothing new. Somebody else was thinking about this, somebody else done this, and they can give you some advice. It's not just the new way of doing things. You have to listen to the people who help build the foundation. You just thinking of
Mm-hmm.
another idea, but go talk to some people that already been down that road.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, with your experience going back to what you're passionate about, working with children, was there ever a point where you saw in your business the issue of self esteem? Because I'm noticing a lot of girls are dealing with self esteem these days. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a
Yeah.
little bit
Yeah.
about how you worked with that when you may have observed that in one of the kids or something?
Yes. Talking about the children I was keeping.
Mm-hmm.
The children I was keeping.
Yes, and then
Okay.
now as
Yes,
you
I
see
had.
them growing.
Oh yeah, they are so much better. Like I said, you always gonna have one or two children that have that problem. When they get into middle school and everything like that, someone will come and say, Miss Wynn, could you do this? Could you fix my hair or this or that? Or they say my hair is ugly and you old time or whatever. And it hurts children. It hurts kids. So
Yes.
I encourage the parents to look at the surrounding that the kids are at the school and look and see what they are doing, and
Mm-hmm.
they are fixing this way. All children look at other children and
Okay.
say, that person have this and that or the other,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if if the parents look at the styles and the thing that not costing, not the cost, not
Mm-hmm.
like Michael Jordan, none of that kind of stuff, but just make sure that your children are up to par,
Okay.
And some parents cannot afford it. They cannot afford. They do the best they can.
Yes.
So sometimes you have to be an individual,
Yes.
and I know it hurts. It hurts
Yes.
because, like I said, when we were in school, and back in those times, I graduated in 1968,
Yeah.
and there were kids that not did harmful things to people, and
Yes.
it hurts children,
Yes. Yes.
so, but I think for my children that's in my daycare, I think they have come out to be real successful in that sense. They
Yes.
learn to depend on themselves,
Yes.
not looking for people to okay everything you do, because they're not going to.
No, they
So
won't.
just remember, do what you like to do. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you like to do, and
Yes.
be the person that you want to be.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what.
But
Mhm.
before we came on live, my technical director was sharing with us at the amount of times and how it impacted her by being moved around so much over the years, and watching her siblings in the home, and seeing the loneliness, and that alone says, man, you really need to keep these kids in a setting where they're connecting with other
Yeah.
children. And so,
Hmm.
my next question to you is, how important is it for kids to be in a stable environment?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
she was saying like they moved like 23 times.
You
Then,
can never gain anything.
uh, not
Mm.
only being in a stable environment, being around other kids. How important is that, Miss Wynn?
This is very important that our child be in a stable environment, even if it's your parents, uh, or whatever it is. It's like daycare. I try to encourage my parents to stay in one daycare.
Mm-hmm.
Don't switch back and forth. For
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
you in this daycare this week, then 2 weeks later you in another daycare. They can never gain anything like that. No friends, no stability or nothing. So I was lucky that my parents left their children with me up till about 5 or 6 years old for them to go into school. So they had stability. They would right here. They knew every morning they get up, or afternoon, or in the evening they were coming to me. And I made this as a point. I I brought my children in to daycare when the parents was there. I took my children in, and I dismissed my children. So they never did not see Miss Wynn. So, like I say, that it's good. It's the best thing to do is be stable no matter what you do. Be stable with the children. Let them be in one spot for a little while. I'm on a prayer line at 5:30, and I have a guy that's on the prayer line, and that's what he's doing to his children. And they stay in this place 6 months, and then he was saying they have to move again. So he's having a lot of issues with his children in school, a lot of problems. So he was on the prayer line asking, the prayer line to pray for him that he will be able to stay stable. He works for J.C. Penney's, and he's all over the place. And so that's what he was asking this morning. So they have a lot of issues when they are not stable. So that's the best thing to do for have children stabilized. Sound is off. Sound is off. The sound is off. Sound.